Hey, this is Casey. I'm Windmill Marigold. Let's take your garden on a date. Hey everybody, thanks for visiting my channel. This is part 4 of our overwhelming series, where we try to break down some of the more overwhelming, intimidating nature of gardening and break it down into simple concepts. We can get you in the garden if that's where you want to be. Part 1, we talked about your focus plant. Part 2, we talked about feeding it. Part 3, we talked about water. And today we're talking about building a relationship. Do I actually mean you're going to take your tomato plant and light some candles, make it a steak? No, of course, that's not actually what I mean. However, one of the secrets to producing a lush garden is to move away from just sort of transactional thinking when it comes to gardening and move more towards building a relationship. So let's talk about my 4 pillars of a healthy garden relationship. First pillar, most important pillar, number 1, respect. Gardening is not a transactional relationship. You don't take a pumpkin plant, plop it in the ground and say, okay, pumpkin plant, give me my damn pumpkin. It's not the way it goes. It's just not the way that it works. The first thing I think every gardener really needs to really understand is respect. Respect for the land, respect for your climate, respect for nature. Nature does not just exist to serve us. She was here way before us, and she is going to be here way after us. She is not something to be colonized and dominated, even though Lord knows us humans have done our very best at trying to do exactly that. So if you get rid of that mindset that nature's just easy, I can just read a couple books on it, watch a couple videos, and I'm going to be able to tame nature to do what it wants. That's going to set you up for failure. Instead, nature is living. We are living. We want to engage in a mutually beneficial relationship with plants. One where if I take care of you and you take care of me, we each just naturally get what we want from each other. So, what does that actually mean in a practical practice? It means not every variety of plant is going to work in your zone. It means you may not be able to grow tomato plants 8 feet tall. It means that just because you want to grow 140 pounds of tomatoes in a particular year doesn't mean you're actually going to get it, even if you follow all the rules. So, respect is pillar 1 and by far the most important. Pillar 2, communication. Yeah. I want you to talk to your plants, but it's not just about talking to your plants. It's about more than talking to your plants. It's also about listening to your plants, and they have something to tell you. You've probably heard, maybe in school growing up as a kid, maybe sometime after, but you've probably heard by now that you can talk to your plants and you can play it great music and your plants will actually thrive. And that is 100% true. So yeah, when you're out and about in the garden, I absolutely encourage you to talk to your plants. Put some great music on. All of that just really helps the mood. But the most important part of that communication is being there. You have to show up in order to communicate. So I'm going to tell you, I need you to put your eyeballs on your plants every single day. Put your eyeballs on your plants every single day. It is a really important practice of communication. If you are looking at your plants every single day, it means you're listening to what they have to tell you with your eyes. Let's go look at a couple examples. This is my gorgeous, gorgeous potato bin. I tell her she's gorgeous every single day because she is. If you look at my potato plant, what is she trying to tell me? When I look at her, I see that she's got some crispy edges to her leaves. I see some leaves are yellowing. Down here we see some that have just completely died off and turned brown. Some of this is still green and lush, but you can tell she's had a minute. She has had her day. She's telling us that she's dying. She's telling us that that beautiful green foliage she produced has done its job, that her babies underneath that soil are starting to get ready to come out because they just don't need her anymore. If you're communicating with your plants every day and you're looking for signs of death or struggle, you're going to be able to nip that in the bud. Let's go look at a couple more examples. Here's a second example. We're over at the tomato trellis. We're looking at one of my beautiful tomato plants who has been really pretty healthy. As I come over here, I see a leaf here that has yellowing and some damage just on one side. And as I look at the rest of the plant, nothing else really looks bad. So she's communicating with me something. We got to figure out what that is. And if I look really, really close, and I zoom in, we can see that she's got a couple of red mites on her. So we want to get those off. If I hadn't put my eyeballs on her today and I hadn't listened to what she was trying to tell me, those little red mites can take down a tomato plant pretty easily. So for the moment, while I'm standing here, I'm just gonna, kill bugs with my fingers. I'm gonna look along her stem lines really quickly. I'm just gonna kill any other living mites that I happen to see. You can also get a really strong spray hose and you can spray some of these off. Also tends to work fairly well. Let's take a peek. And that's the most of what I see for right now. Third pillar of a healthy garden relationship: sacrifice. Sacrifice. This is a hard one, folks. It's a hard one. Sacrifice can mean a lot of things, but here's a couple of examples. First example, time. You got to give up some of your time to spend time with your plant. It's the only way gardening works. If you put a seed in the ground and you just leave it and you never do anything about it, you can't be disappointed if nothing grows, if nothing happens, if nothing produces, right? You got to put in the time. That's the daily, putting your eyeballs on it. That's the communication, and that is giving it respect. So you're going to have to give up a little bit of your time for sure, but another sacrifice is maybe to promote production. Let me show you what I mean. Check out my cutie little banana pepper plant. She's got two cute little fruits on her. She's a little small, but it's okay. We love her anyway. You can see that she's got a couple flowers on her. So she is interested in producing more. She's also got a couple of little teeny weedy nubs where baby peppers are starting to grow. So she's really doing great. But if she didn't have a lot of flowers and buds, something we might do to help encourage her to grow is to pop off some of those flowers. Yeah, by popping off the flower, you are potentially popping off the site of a future pepper. Might seem counterintuitive, right? But by popping off some of the flowers, you're going to signal, you're going to communicate to that plant that you are ready for her to keep producing more. She is now going to try to push out even more flowers and more fruit to get the seeds in that fruit out there than she would have otherwise. It's another way we sacrifice. And one more example of sacrifice. Look at this cute little bean plant. This cute little bean plant got herself kind of a nasty fungus earlier in the year. So she's not very big. She never did get very big. What I found out is that beans and onions are not good companions. They tend to develop a fungus, which this little cutie bean plant did. So I listened to her. I saw she was struggling, decided to learn more to figure out what to do. I just moved her away from the onions. She's got all sorts of new growth and she's got a bunch more beans. So sometimes we have to even just sacrifice space. Last but certainly not least, our fourth pillar, trust. You might really think I'm crazy because a plant doesn't have a brain. It doesn't know how to trust you. And certainly, why would it trust humans? Which is a fair call. What I really mean by that is both the plant and us need to have trust in each other. I need to trust the process. I need to learn what I can, do what I can do, understand my zone, do my best for my plant, and trust that the process will work itself out. Because if I don't trust the process, I'm really likely to overfeed, overwater to get the results that I think I want, when that may not at all be something I need to do. On the flip side, the plant also needs to be able to trust its environment, which is you. When a plant can count on regular moisture, regular feeding, it doesn't stress out. It just lets its roots travel, grow freely to the areas they need to catch that food in, and it's going to allow its foliage and its fruit to get kind of glorious and cool up on top. But if you're not consistent with your watering and you're not consistent with your feeding, you can freak your plants out a whole lot. And they can actually go dormant for a while and just stop growing. I have had that happen with a couple of my pepper plants this year. They may also not produce fruit because they might be storing up all their resources in case of drought or something like that might be coming through. So when you trust the process and you work towards that consistency, your plant's going to reward you by trusting you right back, and it's going to give you its best growth. Tomatoes are really finicky. They really like consistency. I'm not real great at that. First, we're going to respect Mother Nature. She knows what's up. Second, we're going to communicate every day with our plants. We're going to put our eyeballs on them every single day. And we're going to listen when they communicate with us. And we're going to tell them really nice things back. Third, we're going to sacrifice. We're going to learn to prune off the dead branches if it's not serving the rest of the plant. We are going to learn to maybe even snip a couple buds to help the plant produce a little bit more. And we might have to pull different plants away from each other if they just don't play nice in the garden. And fourth, we're going to trust. We're going to trust in ourselves and our process. We're going to trust in the plant and their process. And we're just going to work together to become a little consistent little relationship that makes everybody happy. That's it. I love you guys. I hope you found this little series helpful. I will continue to address, hopefully, different barriers to gardening. There's tons and tons and tons of physical barriers that we can get into as well, and I definitely plan to look at all those ways too. I hope you found this helpful. If you haven't checked out the other videos in this series, link to the side here, and happy growing. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.